Hello everyone, it's Jamie here. Now, before we get into the actual episode, apologies, I've got a request to make. All of us at the Smart 7 are really excited. Over the past week, we've been nominated for 4 different awards, which is just a huge, massive achievement for all of us. But one of them needs your help. We've been nominated for a Signal Award. We are up against some absolutely terrifying competition. Would you do me a favour? Would you just go to thesmart7.com? That will redirect you to the voting page. It'll take literally 1 minute of your day and could make the world of difference to us here. Thanks very much.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th.
We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
On today's Smart 7, Rishi hits the radio, tributes to an acting legend and lots more. It's Friday the 29th of September. It's world's biggest coffee morning, and happy birthday, Halsey.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has been working really hard to shake off the inaction man nickname that Keir Starmer landed on him 2 weeks ago. We've seen a flurry of activity rolling back net zero deadlines, firing ahead on a new oil field, proposing a scrapping of inheritance tax, and of course the HS2 drama. There's still no decision on what's happening with HS2, but for reasons best known to himself, Inaction Man decided to do a round of BBC local radio stations on Thursday. It went about as well as you might expect when Anna Jameson from BBC Manchester took the call.
Actually, what are the journeys that people use most? It's in their cars, making sure that the roads are free of potholes. That's probably priority number one that people raise with me.
People want to know about the future of HS2, and still now, you can't give me a yes or a no, and you're the man in control.
Labour's Deputy National Campaign Coordinator Ellie Rees told Kay Burley on Sky News that Rishi needs to make his mind up.
The Prime Minister needs to come clean. At the moment, we're in the dark about the costs, how much has already been spent, and what more is
so you might not be able to afford it.
Whether or not HS2 is built, there's another weekend of rail strikes ahead, but Roads and Local Transport Minister Richard Holden says there's no better offer coming from the government.
65 grand is on the table. The unions won't even put that deal to their members. I just want the union members to have that say on that deal, because I think it's a brilliant good deal, and I think my constituents would think it's a pretty good deal as well.
The death of a young girl in Croydon made the headlines in every newspaper on Thursday and inspired a fresh debate on what needs to be done about knife crime. The 15-year-old Eliane Andam was on her way to school when the incident occurred, and her family had paid tribute to a much-loved girl who had a bright future ahead of her. Local Labour MP Sarah Jones, a former shadow policing minister, says there's a lot of work to be done to make sure that young people can feel safe on the streets.
We live in an era where fights that would have led to injuries, maybe now they can lead to death. There are certain situations where people are more likely to get involved in crime, and we need to be in all those spaces.
Youth campaigner Pastor Lorraine Jones lost her 21-year-old son to knife crime in 2014, and she had a heartfelt plea to London Mayor Sadiq Khan for more funding and support for community groups.
It's about who you're putting in position to support the local community. I'm being honest. We need help.
Thursday was a busy day in Kyiv as NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, along with the French and English defence ministers, paid a surprise visit. The NATO boss brought good news too, as he announced a new €2.4 billion contract for ammunition that would allow NATO countries to replenish their stockpiles and continue to supply Ukraine. At a joint press conference, President Zelensky continued to make Ukraine's case for NATO membership, and Stoltenberg was full of praise for the progress Ukraine is making in its current offensive.
Today, your forces are moving forward. They face fierce fighting, but they are gradually gaining ground. Every meter that Ukrainian forces regains is a meter that Russia loses.
Thursday also saw good news for Ukrainian refugees scattered across Europe as the EU has extended their right to stay in its member countries until March 2025. Grant Shapps is making his first visit to Kyiv in his new role as Secretary for Defence, and he spoke with President Zelensky and discussed improving air defences and reinforced the UK's continued support.
We stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and we feel your pain at what's happened, and we want to see a resolution, which is the resolution that you want and require.
The US government started notifying federal workers on Thursday that they should prepare for a shutdown on October 1st. With no sign of progress on resolving the funding questions, Republicans were busy beginning an impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. It didn't go well as Democrats systematically demolished the flimsy evidence offered of any sign of Biden's supposed corruption. Congressman Jamie Raskin, who led the impeachment of Donald Trump, pointed out that the whole inquiry seems to be a circus.
If the Republicans had a smoking gun, or even a dripping water pistol, they would be presenting it today, but they've got nothing on Joe Biden.
Still to come in the Smart 7, the Red Bull boss celebrates and tributes to an acting legend.
Right after this.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Welcome back.
Red Bull are in the middle of an extraordinary season in Formula One. They've set records and locked up the Constructors' Championships with 6 races still left to go. Now Max Verstappen is just 1 win away from his 3rd driver's title, which could happen at the next Grand Prix in Qatar. Not surprisingly, Red Bull boss Christian Horner is already thinking about next year and new talent.
Lando's a great driver. I mean, he's a big talent, big personality, and of course he's one of those drivers that you keep an eye on. But there's many drivers that you keep an eye on as well. There's a generation of drivers out there at the moment that have got a huge amount of talent.
Legendary action director Matthew Vaughn, who brought us Lock, Stock, Layer Cake and Kick-Ass, is back with what looks like a pretty exciting new movie. It's called Argyle and it has an astonishing cast, including Henry Cavill, Bryan Cranston, Samuel L. Jackson, Dua Lipa and many more. Bryce Dallas Howard plays Ellie, a shy and retiring spy novelist who finds herself and her cat, Alfie, dragged into a real-life spy drama. It'll hit cinemas in February and Apple TV Plus soon after.
These people.
Real life spies.
Why would they care about me?
Because you're a goddamn fortune teller, Ellie. When you wrote your new book actually happened, and you kicked a hornet's nest you didn't even know existed.
I'm in some really big trouble, Mom. Oh, so now you're experimenting with drugs.
Thursday saw the death of Irish-born actor Sir Michael Gambon, and he passed away peacefully after a bout of pneumonia at the age of 82. He was perhaps most widely known as Dumbledore in 6 of the 8 Harry Potter movies, but he had a huge range as an actor and was successful on stage, screen and television. He won many awards, including 3 Olivier Awards, 4 BAFTAs and had 2 Emmy nominations. Born in Dublin, his family moved to the UK after the Second World War, and he started his stage acting career with Laurence Olivier. He was a famous storyteller and entertainer, although he professed to hate being interviewed. This appearance on Top Gear became an instant classic. Rest in peace, Michael.
I hate interviews, so I just tell lies. The man said, I played Oscar Wilde. He said, did you find that difficult? I said, no, I didn't. He said, what about the homosexuality? So that annoyed me, and I said, well, I found that very easy because I used to be a homosexual. And he was so thick, I said, but I was forced to give it up.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes and we'll give you the world.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Think of your favorite one-hit wonder.
Or that overpriced toy your parents would never let you have.
Or that TV show that no one else remembers because it was canceled way too soon. Now what if we could fix it? I'm Francesca Ramsey.
And I'm DeLon Grant. And after 20 years of friendship, we are now hosting a new nostalgia podcast called Let Me Fix It.
Each episode, we'll dig into our favorite celebrities, shows, and brands of yesteryear, and then imagine what it would take to repackage them for relevance today.
Think of our show as an intervention, but with way less stakes.
So subscribe to Let Me Fix It wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.